Good to see you.
Alright there, Revenants. Welcome back to Code Vein and the Road to
Good to be
100.
with you.
Thanks, Louis. Where today, after the Virgin Born analysis and everything, I'm a little bit sore, so we're just going to kind of take it easy. So we're going to be starting the Bayonet run here, and we're going to kind of discuss a lot of bayonets and a lot of multipliers and a lot of weird things that go on with the bayonets, as there are many, 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 many different things you need to pay attention to when you're doing a bayonet, and a lot of them has to do with damage types, because what you see on the card is not always what you get, and sometimes there are hidden damage types, and sometimes there are out and out wrong damage types. So we'll definitely have to be keeping an eye on that for sure as we go through here. So first of all, we're going to be running the Burning Disaster as a
Take care of
slashing
whatever's
weapon,
concerning you.
because here on the card it says that it's a slashing weapon, but what it doesn't tell you is that the shots that come out of it are crush damage. So the little bullet exploding bomb thing that it shoots, that's a crush damage attack, and then also the flamethrower application of this weapon is also a crush attack. Now, the flamethrower weapon version of it that goes like this, there are 47 attacks that happen during that
Start here.
encounter there, and
Watch
it
your step.
lasts for about 2 seconds or so. And if all 47 of those attacks hit the enemy, then it's good. You get max damage. And if they don't hit the enemy, or you can stop the
That
animation
ladder can be lowered.
about halfway through the attack, so you can get maybe half damage, and then you have to deal with the crush resistances of the enemy and everything. So it may or may not be in your best interest to ever use the flamethrower, because you have to have an enemy that basically stands still for 2 seconds, and there are not too many enemies that actually do that. So we're going to be running the Burning Disaster here as a flame weapon, and it is going to have upwards of 80% um, 80% fire on it, and that will dwarf anybody's resistance to fire, so we'll be able to kind of burn through, pun intended there, any of the enemy defenses that we'll come up against. So let's see here. If what value do we need? So we need, let's say, 80 minus 5 plus 35. So yeah, we can get up to 110 of fire value on this pretty easily, because here you see we have 80 and all we need is 30 more, and that'll be 80% fire damage, which this value here, this will get us 20% from flame weapon, and then fire buff. Anytime we get focused from either focus recovery or just dodging around, we will get another 10% from the fire buff weapon, and there's four of them here: fire, ice, lightning, and blood, and these all give you a 10% increase upon getting focused. So we'll have 80% increase to our fire damage here, which means that we'll have a pretty healthy multiplier all the time for not really too much investment in iCore, because this only costs 5, and this is free when we get focused. And then if we want, we can go for uh, 10% more increase from 5% from the Hellfire Hammer charge attack, and 5% more increase from flame cartridges. So that'll get us a 90% increase in our fire damage. So we'll be able to just run through the enemy's defenses. And as all that's additive on the end of the multiplier, we'll be having Bridge to Glory along for the ride, and Bloodsucking Blades to make sure we have really, really, really good iCore recovery. Basically, one iCore per hit will be our recovery rate, which will be really, really nice, because these two weapon attacks here, they only cost 3 iCores, so we hit the enemy 3 times at the end of our string, and then we use one of these, and then we do 3 more attacks, and then use another one, and then 3 more attacks, and use another one. So it has really good synergy here, and we'll have Louis along just for his stack of overdrive, because he kind of has his place here at the beginning of the game. So we'll start this out, and the Burning Disaster
That's quite
is
valuable.
kind of an
Seems
interesting
invaluable.
bird, as it
That's a
is
solid start.
obtained about halfway through the game, and then you don't really use it too much after that. But if you bring it back through another another playthrough, you can actually do really,
Any
really,
requests?
really, really, really good damage with this weapon. So it's in your best interest to keep an eye on it where possible. And if you have access to it, you can definitely get some really crazy things that happen out of this weapon for sure. And
Thank you.
especially because you can pair it so easily and so well with so many things as a actual uh, one-handed slashing weapon. Whoops. I don't know what was going on there, but you can see that as we go through here, we'll just be able to absolutely wreck through. That was almost 6,000 damage there. Okay. And because the Burning Disaster has no multipliers that are poor, meaning it has a 100% multiplier on the first hit, and so we're able to absolutely put everybody down in basically one hit here in the beginning of the game. And even though these guys are, extremely weak and they have lower health pools and everything, it just goes to show that the amount of damage that you can get out of this thing is actually really, really, really high. So we'll go ahead
Thank
and
you.
go for a flame weapon here. Now you see we haven't really gone for any of our weapon attacks yet, but that's okay. And we'll go ahead and heal again just because I don't want to be
Bubbles.
running out of health here too much. And even without Bridge to Glory, we still do a fair amount of damage there. But you see that that cost us three health, three regenerations just to use one sacrificial edge. So it's kind of a use as a last ditch effort if you need a huge
You
increase
chased
in your
away.
damage. You definitely want to go for sacrificial
It
edge.
was a path
It's
here.
definitely not, a something to be afraid of, but it's definitely something that you need to watch out for. And you can see there that even without any buffs running, our Burning Disaster did about half his health there during that first hit, and uh, and that is really really nice that all of our multipliers for damage are 100% or more. So there's no chance or there's no time that you're actually doing less damage than what's listed on the card, which is really really nice because a lot of times you are doing way less damage than what's
This will help.
listed on the card. So here we'll go for a couple of or a gift there. We got a change in elevation somehow. That was interesting. You saw me jump up there, so that was different. Okay, and we'll use our Phantom Assault again. And you can see that because Phantom Assault closes the distance very, very nicely and
Did
easily,
you pick up
we can
something we
use
can
it
use?
basically anytime we want to close that gap. Okay, and here we'll go for uh, a bunch of attacks on this fella and put him down quickly. So if you've ever wanted to use the Burning Disaster, I would say definitely look into it as it is a very, 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 very strong alternative to a
That's
one-handed
a
play
solid start.
kind of a setup. And if you're able to, actually figure out the multipliers for it and figure out just how you're going to go around slashing and hacking through everybody. Okay, okay, can't, that's very interesting there. Okay,
Make
wonder,
sure they don't find
uh, oh, oh, okay. I wonder if I can do this, and no, I can't jump up. Too bad. I thought I could maybe jump up there and use that. Okay, but I
I'll have to
can't.
work to keep
So
from slowing
we'll
you
go
down.
ahead and use one of these to recover what we pick up
Wait,
here.
that's
So that's pretty nice. Okay. But the Burning Disaster, definitely, I've not found a super good use for it as a flamethrower yet, or as a regular shot here doing that attack because that attack costs 2 ichor, and it just doesn't do really any damage, even though it's 120% plus scaling kind of an attack.
that was
So
well hidden.
it should be pretty devastating, but the scaling on
That's
it
pretty
is
harsh.
really really poor, and so you don't actually get any kind of good setups on it. But at least that I've found to date in the 1100 hours I've been running through here, I haven't really found a good use case for it. But I mean, there are There are kind of some weird, strange build things that you can do that can actually make it in an interesting kind of a way. Oh, okay. Let's get a plunge attack on that guy. Ouch. I know, Louis. What are you doing to get me out of danger? Okay. Okay. So you can see that you have really good mobility with this and really, really good dodge around kind of attack patterns and stuff because of Phantom Assault and your ability to close the distance pretty quickly between enemies just because of that one gift. It really makes for a good way to kind of move around, and because you don't have to worry about too much I-core recovery just because of the fact of everything is pretty cheap on this setup to to ensure that the little bit of I-core that you are recovering from your attacks are fueling enough of your abilities here and everything. So
Hey,
let's go
you.
ahead
That's.
and
Forget it.
rest up here.
We'll talk later.
Okay, Louis? Sure. And
It's strange to see a cave connected to a
he's just
building.
gonna talk, isn't he? So it's good to kind of relax here in a kind of simple way after that virgin born analysis. That kind of took it out of me yesterday. No worries. I think it was pretty good, and we actually got most of our questions answered. But yeah, we'll have a lot of fun here running bayonets into this
Pick up
43
something we can
star run
use.
here, and we'll be investigating basically everything they have to offer, um, and uh, and what they don't have to offer as well,
Thank
because there are some things where bayonets just aren't meant to
Watch
do
out.
things, and it's okay because we can make them do those things. So it's pretty nice. Okay, so here comes Big Boy. Okay, we'll hit him from a. Oops, we missed him. Okay, good. And because we have such a high damage capacity there, we were able to put him down pretty quickly and easily. And we'll go for a couple backstabs here to load up before the Oliver fight. Okay. And the other nice thing about the burning disaster, am I hitting all my notes here? Yeah, okay. And another nice thing about the burning disaster is that it doesn't have a dodge back mechanic on the slashing string. So it is a constantly advancing slashing string with no um, dodge back. So that's very, very, very nice that you're
Back on
able
the
to
surface again.
uh, advance on the enemy all the time at will. So that's really, really great. Okay, so we'll go for all of our things here to make sure that we're able to keep up with Oliver here.
Good.
Okay,
It's light from the
good.
surface.
And we're not going for the Hellfire Hammer because that is basically reserved for, you know, if
That's
you're
a
going
solid
for
start.
max damage in some kind of strange setup. But you can see the amount of damage that we're able to put out on Oliver here is just absolutely ridiculous. Okay, okay. And poor guy, he's just gonna disappear here in front of us. Okay. Okay, and that's the Burning Disaster in Oliver. And because it's slash and fire, he's not necessarily weak to slash or fire because he has a 0% resist to both.
Wait, what are
But
you?
the fact of the matter is because he has that 0% resist in the first phase, you're able to burn him down. I'm loving it right now. You're able to burn him down extremely quick just because of the fact that you have, you know, that 80 to 90% increase on your fire damage, and since all of that is basically free damage,
For now.
ignoring all of the uh, physical resistances of Oliver, and you're only worried about, you know, the big damage that's coming out of the fire value of it, so that allows you to get a huge amount of damage on Oliver very, very quickly, very, very easily. And when you pair up with oh, what is that? Sacrificial Edge, you get an 800 value boost in your damage, as we can see here. So we are currently at 791, so plus 800 would be 1591. So if we go for Sacrificial Edge, So there we're at 1591, and then if we do this, we get half of our light value, so we get another 600 here. So we're at 2198, and we haven't even really done anything. And then that 2198 is multiplied by, let's see, this is a 60% increase, if I remember right. Is that right? 80 minus 35 plus 5 is 80 minus 35. 80 minus 35 plus 5. Yeah, 50%. So 2198 times 1.5 is 3300, right? 2198 times 1.5, yeah, 3300 is what you're getting out on this weapon just from the damage increase here. And then if you go for the extra 20%, so you'll be up at 1.7, so 2198 times 1.7 is 37 damage. And then if you add the extra 10% from flame or from fire buff here, that's 4000 damage. Then if you add the other 5% here, you're at 4066. And then if you add the other 5% here, you're at 4176. So that is absolutely bonkers that you can actually go that high of almost 4200 damage on this weapon just from a couple of buffs here. And if you go for the gifted version, you almost maintain that same level of damage, but the 20% decrease here makes it just a little bit less. But it does make for a very good alternative if you don't have one with a Gothic chrome on it for a fire version. So you'll be able to see that here if we go for a couple of things, and you can see the damage value that we can pump out from this guy. Okay, good. And the other big thing here is that instead of 800, now you're getting 1200 from Sacrificial Edge, but you're just not getting a huge increase in your fire damage overall. So you can see here that we're at 2430, and here we're 200 less, but we're 20% increase in our damage overall. So don't let that fool you. Okay, and let's go ahead and keep ourselves going here. And then we'll go for this guy. So there we go. We got another 5%. Okay. And let's wait for ourselves to get focused here. Okay, and we ran out of fire weapon. Okay, we're focused. Good. And now we're this. Okay, and we still have that going. So we're at 95, and here we're at 115. And here we do this, and we're at 100, and we're at 120. So you can see there that we have extremely high amounts of damage that we can put out if we are so prepped and ready for whatever kind of situation that we're going to be getting into. But I prefer the fire version because you're already up at let's see, 60 minus 35 plus 5 is 30%. You're already at 30% fire damage on the weapon just from the base game, just from picking up the weapon from the cannoneer. And then if you add 20% more from the Gothic chrome that you add to this, you're already at 50% increase in your damage from what the card says here at 791. So 791 times 1.5. So just from adding the Gothic chrome on here and taking it to level 10 refinement here or whatever, you're at almost 1200 damage, 1187 on the weapon, which is higher. Oh, here's a 1185, so it's higher than this. And let's see, 1118. Okay. Yeah, it's the highest. Okay, so 1263. It's almost the highest bayonet in the game here for damage wise. But everything else kind of pales in comparison. It's higher even than the black bayonet, which is pretty amazing. It might not be higher if I get this to plus 10, but for being a weapon that is kind of discarded after you get it because of its flame resistance, because most enemies are resistant to fire, and so you have to pick and choose what enemies those enemies are to make sure that you actually do the fire. So now about the shot attack here, that is not fire damage. It just looks like fire damage. And then the charge attack is not fire damage either. It just looks like charge attack, but it does 47 attacks, and every one of those needs to hit. And you saw there we were at 5,000 something. So let's see that again. It's 5,365. Okay, so keep that number in mind. And then if we do it again here, we can stop it midstream. Okay, and you see there, uh, we did 3 attacks, and that cost us 12 ichor, and we didn't do even the amount of attack damage that the flamethrower actually puts out if you just use the 5 ichor. But you see how long that duration is to get that 5,365. That's a very, very long time for enemies to simply stand in one place all at once without moving around or going anywhere. So that's really, really important when you're considering when to use the flamethrower, because if you stop it midstream like this, and then you can dodge out of it, and look, we only got 1940, so that's like a 75% reduction or a 65% reduction in your damage um, from letting it play out the full animation. So if you cancel that animation from the actual burn here, see, we're still standing there. And that's the problem with this, is that you actually need to stand there and do the entire animation the whole time. Because if I stop, there we go, 3767. If I stop that animation halfway or something, the actual burn damage ends. So coming out of the flamethrower. So you want to make sure that you let the flame happen all the way, and let it burn through the enemy. Otherwise, it just won't do the damage that you're hoping to. But because you can every attack is the same, you can calculate in the enemy's resistances as just a lump multiplier at the end, and you'll get the right value. So yeah, it's for that specific flame attack. It's how it goes is 20% of your card value damage plus the scaling for each shot times 47. So it's kind of in parentheses there. I guess I can show you the spreadsheet here again. Let me see. This window, to do this. Okay. And let's see. Oh, that's like way off to the side there. So let's, oh, now moving this around. Okay. I want to move this one around and move it up here. There we go. Okay, so now you can see that the burning disaster, it has here in the charge attack, it has the 20% plus scaling for each shot, and then the entire shot value is multiplied by 47, and that's what you get for the damage that comes out. On the regular heavy attack, that little ball that comes out that shoots, it's 120% of the card damage, uh, plus the scaling from your mind and willpower. Now, I haven't quite fully figured out the scaling yet of how to an exact science yet, but you can see here on the burning disaster that for the first attack, second attack, and third attack, they're all over 100%. That's very, very, very nice that you don't have to worry about ever doing anything below 100% damage on the burning disaster as a weapon itself outright. So it's very, 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 very good. Okay, so that's the spreadsheet again. And so for the burning disaster, I think it's a pretty good weapon overall if you're running it in a kind of a slashing setup here. Now we've run some different slash versions of this in the past, but this one here is in particularly of interest to me just because of the fact that we can get such a high flame weapon. We can make use of fire buff from focus recovery, so that's also a plus, because most of the time you're having a hard time trying to get focused, but because you can get focused on purpose with focus recovery, you can add that 10% damage to your weapon almost any time. And if you would want to pair this up with reduce the rate from focus carnage, uh, that your attacks are consuming the focus gauge, that will also help you maintain that 10% increase to your damage there. So anyways, the burning disaster, that's been here in the Ashen Underground, or not the Ashen Underground, the Ruin Underground, and will be in the Ruin City next. in the parking deck with the butterfly, where we should be doing this specific build for the butterfly because it's slash fire, and that's what she's weak to is slash fire. But we'll be doing other things for her, and you'll be able to see that tomorrow. So, anyways, thank you all for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.